Great crack, monkey breaky back. With a sudden cultural attack. I sit down in my house and I thinking how some people still gossiping. You talk about everybody business and there is no constructiveness. And when you're trying to move up, them trying to pull you back, destroying one another when we should be helping each other. Crabs in a barrel, that's how we feel, like crabs in a barrel. Climb on each other like crabs in a barrel. You could even go and ask Mr. Farrell. Okay, welcome to the Legends of Inside Sports. I'm your host, Harold Bell, and we'll be talking about the way we were. My special guest today has been an international broadcaster here in Washington, D.C. for the past 40 plus years. He began his professional career as a contributor to WHUR-FM Radio's Caribbean Experience. He spotlighted Caribbean community events in 1975. He joined the Pacifica family on WPFWFM radio. He found and created the award-winning program, The Caribbeaner. It is a 3-hour radio magazine show aired on Saturdays from 6 p.m. until 9 p.m. It reflects all that is Caribbean. He prides himself on his contribution to the community by keeping his people abreast of what's happening at home and in the region. He says the nucleus of his efforts are embroiled in what he calls the 3 E's: to educate, to entertain, and to enlighten. All about the Caribbean. He is a 1977 graduate of Federal City College, University of the District of Columbia, with a BS in computer science, and had further graduate courses in public relations at American University, where he worked for a while before becoming an independent radio producer. In his role as an independent producer, he created programs for National Public Radio's award-winning series, Horizons, on Caribbean music and culture, titled Caribbean Music, History in Motion, History of Steel Drums, and Amico Renegades, and Caribbean History and Sound, and several others. He's joining me today to promote his new book titled Voices of Pan Pioneers of Trinidad and Tobago. Saying this book is a labor of love would be an understatement. It would be like, to welcome my friend, the one and only Vaughn Martin, a true pioneer in broadcasting media. How you doing, Vaughn?
Pretty good.
I know it's kind of early for you, but I just finished reading your book, man. I'll tell you what it reminds me of later, but tell me why this book, Voices of Pan Pioneers of Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, why Voices of Pan Pioneers of Trinidad and Tobago? It's certainly a manifestation of my desire to reveal who created this instrument, why it was created, and to sort of document the founders of this instrument. This instrument is the only instrument that was created in the 20th century, and it came out of this tiny island, Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah. Ron, why such a long title, Voices of Pan Pioneers of Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, again, to emphasize where the instrument came from, but more so to sort of let people understand and realize that the instrument has traveled throughout the globe. It has gone through the world. It is no longer simply an instrument of Trinidad and Tobago. It's a musical instrument that was created there, but it has gone all over the world. It has been explored all over the world, from Japan, in Asia, to Europe, to here in the United States of America, all over the world, literally all over the world. People now take on the instrument where they use it in schools, teaching young children how to play the pan.
Tell me, describe the instrument, Vaughn. How is it created, and by whom was it created?
Well, the instrument, it was born out of struggle, Harold. Its very emergence was the product of real suffering and pain, but at the same time, happiness and celebration. This pan instrument, it speaks to the enslavement of African people against the backdrop of colonization from the 16th century and later on, culminating in this 20th century with independence of Trinidad and Tobago. So therefore, Pan was the eyewitness to it all, and it was created and started by individuals playing in yards. It was not something that I had planned to do, but it emerged out of over many years of interviewing scores of these individuals who had a direct hand in creating the development of this instrument. And I'm talking of people like Ellie Manet, Neville Jules, Junior Pushett, Gerald Forsyth, Sterling Betancourt, Pat Maurice, and many others, and men and women as well. They were part of the integral cadre of the individuals who poured their lives into the making of this instrument.
Mm-hmm. Vaughn, I said that this book was a labor of love. I understand how long you've been working on this book. It has definitely been a labor of love. But now the real challenges are now how do you promote this book and get it out to all your people over in the Caribbean, Tobago and Tobago and all over.
Man, I tell you, when I started to write this book, I just wanted to pour out. Being a broadcaster, you do interviews and you listen to the radio, so you hear, and you just let people listen. But then when I realized that the impact of the instrument, I thought that young people needed to be able to read something and get a sense of where the instrument was and what it came out of. And so therefore I started to write. But little did I realize that it wasn't just only writing alone. You had big companies who normally put out books and they market and so on. So I just left it and thought that would have happened. But no, I was in for a shock. After I wrote the book, I realized I had to market the book and sell the book myself. So, it came out of as a self-publisher, you got to do all of these things yourself. Right. And I approached one big producer, and he said that I'm not an author, so they can't do anything for me. So then I had to go and write my own book, and now I have to market the book myself, and that's a challenge for you.
I believe that. Vaughn, your work has been tireless. I mean, you have conducted extensive research on the music and the culture of the Caribbean region, and you transformed the products into a radio documentary. And you have made contributions to the Smithsonian Institution, and there have been presentations of Caribbean culture on the mall at the American Folk Light Festivals, which I remember, and at the Anacostia Museum of African American Art. What role do you see for young people as you try to get the word out to enlighten them and educate them on this great history of theirs, Vaughn?
Well, Harold, it's a challenge. It's a real challenge. I don't have any answers. All I can tell them is that they have to come up with an idea, stick to the idea, and just do it. It's a challenge, but you just have to be consistent and keep doing it. Somehow something will happen. And we adults have to also talk to them and teach them and show them a way, what they can do, how they can go about doing it. But I tell you, there's no real answer that I can give. It's just that I can simply say that you just gotta get out there and do things, man. Yeah. Because sometimes it can be discouraging.
Yes, it can.
When we sit down and we talk our stories, it seems as though that there's no hope. But I do believe that there is hope, because if you're consistent and and you persist to do it, things will happen, and it will come true. Because I'm seeing things happening with this book. For Black History Month, for the Caribbean American Heritage Month, I've been asked to come and speak and do book signings and so on. So I think it's good. It's going to work out.
Mm-hmm. Well, we are talking to, of course, Vaughn Martin. This is his book right here, Voices of Pan Pioneers of Trinidad and Tobago. And Vaughn, when I look at the history and I was reading the book, it reminded me of doo-wop, in America, how we used to have these little groups travel all over the city, and different groups had their own sound, but it was all doo-wop. And I remember that when I was attending Spingarn, we would have something called the Spring Festival, and these groups would come from all over the city to participate in this festival. And this is where Marvin Gaye got his start at the Spring Festival. I mean, he used to come in my neighborhood and sing under the lamppost, man. So this reminded me of what the Pan Pioneers have done with this instrument. Over the years, it's the same type of a journey.
Right. And that is so true, Harold, because even sometimes when I walk down to DC, downtown, and I see young men with little pans, little wash cans and so on, turning it upside down and they're beating it. That's the whole essence of it, But that concept, Harold, comes out of the drum. The drum. Whereas Africans, when we came from Africa, music is in our heart, and we wanted to express something. So the beat, that heartbeat, we wanted to express it with our hands. And so you come to pop, 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 and you start to beat. And that's where the music comes out of the heart, But the tragedy of all of the thing, I have to say a tragedy, man, because as I look and I see where the pan is going today, white kids are today now taking up the pan and they're playing it. And because of their status and their situation, they take it to the schools, the universities. So today you find in all major white universities, in Michigan State, in Minnesota, in Florida, you have steel bands with white kids, predominantly white kids playing the band. that is my concern and my hurt. That when the history is finally written, this is why I'm writing it. Because when the final history is written, they will claim, well, we did it.
Vaughn, that is so sad, but that's happened to us down through the decades and centuries, man. That our culture is being stolen from us, and it'll go so far that in 40 or 50 years they won't know anything about Vaughn Martin and the Pan Pioneers. It'll look like this is something that white folks created. It's the same, and it's the same thing that I've gone through with Inside Sports. How I changed the way we talk sports in America, but nobody knows about Harold Bell. So it's that kind of history that you got to keep alive. You got to keep it alive through your young people, man, because they are the future of this music, of this instrument of yours.
Yes, that is so true, man. I mean, when you look and see what you have done, and to see when you look on TV and you see, wide world of sports, and nobody's talking about where this thing came out of.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when I look at the steel pan and I see that where these kids, white kids, are now playing pan, this one is having it, this one is appearing, and this one is doing, and not one essence of the background where the instrument came from.
That's right.
And this is why, the essence of why I called it Voices of Pan Pioneers of Trinidad and Tobago, to let them know that this came out of this tiny island and spread all over the world.
Yeah.
And so it's a heartbreaking essence, but at the same time, it's a tremendous encounter with our history that we're trying to make sure and document. One of the things that happened to me in my earlier years, in 1980, I went to Dakar, Senegal, and this was to attend a meeting of Africans, Americans, and Caribbean peoples. And the essence of it was to discuss how do we document our history. Because our history, if we don't do it ourselves, our history will be written by others.
That's right. That is so right.
And it came out.
And that is exactly what's happening. I'm talking to my friend Martin, Pacifica Radio, where he's been a pioneer, really a true pioneer in Caribbean music, and he can be heard on Saturdays from 6 to 9 p.m. And Vaughn, you know, it is so sad, man, how our history is being oppressed. And those are folks that are out there in the media who look like us. They're just as bad as some of the white folks. They don't let folks know what's happening. I mean, we sit right here in Washington D.C. and I'm bringing on sportscasters and columnists and writers from the Washington Post on my show. In the meantime, they are stealing my title, Inside Sports, for their own. And you know, then they take it and copyright it. The copyright is owned by Newsweek, which is owned by the Washington Post. And they take it to New York and make Inside Sports Magazine, thinking that they can transform my success on talk radio into print media, and they couldn't do it. So the magazine folded within a couple of years because they had money. You know, they lost millions of dollars, but nobody talks about that. So that's why I'm hoping that, you know, with your daughter Vonetta, who's been your champion, man, and your wife and your family, man, that you guys can keep this going and keep it alive, man, because without you guys and you getting the word out, man, I'm hoping that maybe, you know, this interview here on YouTube, you can send it all over the country and let people know what you're doing, man, because our young people are our future. We have no future without them, Vaughn.
Yes, that is so true, man. It is so true. You know, the fact that we as a people are very creative people and we do things. One of the things that we don't do, we don't market, we don't talk to each other, we don't structure to develop with each other, and we are lost. So we have others now. There are some of us who are very, like you described, those here in the area who do things and profit for themselves. That's and right. They don't help others. But you see, we have to, those of us who are conscious of it, have to continue doing what we're doing because it will impact and one day it will reach the young kids who are really would be very beneficial of what we do. It's a travesty, man. Yes, when I see what you have done, man, I mean, I remember coming the early days when I was in PFW. You started the sports thing on PFW.
That's right. I was the first sports talk show host they ever had at PFW.
So glad, man. Well, at least we are not just talk and music and so on. We are into something serious sports, you know?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
You know, it's to see where it just went. Yeah. And those others who were riding on, they started to ride it for themselves in a beneficial way.
Yeah. You know, Vaughn, that's why, I greatly appreciate you, man, because the way we've been able to network over the decades, man, you know, something is wrong with in our community where black men don't know how to communicate with each other. It's like these crabs in a barrel, as you heard me opening up with our dear friend who you introduced me to, Ellsworth James. Crabs in a barrel. That describes our mentality, Vaughn.
Yeah, that is so, yeah. That is so true, man.
That is so sad. It is so sad. Not only is it true, it is so sad, man. And when I stop and think, and as you well know, I have to tell you, my whole thing has been about young people, man, over the past 50 years, man, of help put our young people out there now. And we have been losing our young people in the community, in these schools for years with, gunfire, murder, black on black murder. And it's too bad that we had to have young white folks killed before we had ever get a platform to say, hey, this is a danger. This is ridiculous. The type of violence that we got going on in America, man, with gun violence. And now we finally got a platform because, and it's sad that we had to lose young white children, man, for us to get a platform, Vaughn.
And the same, it's not just going on here in America alone, Darrell. It's going on all over. In the Caribbean, in Africa, this is going on all with a global struggle. Again, I mean, this is why at the beginning of a global legacy, this is a global struggle. And so we have to find commonalities with those of us who are in touch and who are working and moving to express and to do things that will sort of perpetuate our positiveness throughout our lives.
Ron, you know, it's you know, I mean, we have to be realistic, man. You know, that we have to understand, man, that racism in America isn't going anywhere. It isn't going anywhere in this world. As long as you got a black skin, you're gonna have a problem in this world. And I mean that's the real deal. There's never going to be an even playing field, Vaughn. Never going to be an even playing field because people who got power, they're not going to give it that. They're not going to share that power voluntarily, Vaughn. They're not going to do it, man. They're not going to share the financial power that they got. Still, here we are, Vaughn, in 2018, and we are still making half of what the white man makes in salary. How are we ever going to catch up if success in America is based on the dollar bill? And they keep holding us back. And you're not going to be able to ever get ahead if you're making half of course, what the white man makes, man.
Right. Yeah, man. But you know, to give you an example of how this struggle has always been going on. In the 1950s, Britain invited Trinidad and Tobago to the Festival of Music, and a representative band was put together to represent the country in London. And this was the essence of beginning the globalizing of the instrument. So they had this representative body to go to London. And a good friend of mine who is no longer with us lived in London, and he was one of the first nationals to migrate to London. And he said there was a woman who came to London, who was sent to London. Her name was Claudia Jones. She was a Trinidadian woman who lived in New York. She was a communist. And during the McCarthy era, she was deported, and because the governor of Trinidad refused her back home, she was sent to London. Now, why her story is important is that she was able to use her skills in the community activism, just the way you are doing, to illustrate through culture a measure of political activism. She organized a parade in Notting Hill so that the West Indians could participate, and the steel pan was introduced. And this began today's impressive Notting Hill Carnival. So that impact, you know, you see what I'm saying, Harold?
Yes. And it's obvious, man. Wow.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, you know, it's a struggle we have to go through. You know, and I try to use the book as a tool to tell this story. You know, that there are other people, scores of other people who have been impacted and have been able to transform their work into something, you know. So, I mean, your efforts and your contributions eventually won't go unheard of. It will have an impact, and it has an impact. The fact that these white folks can take the instrument and go and do, that is an impact. I mean, they could claim that they did this inside sports, but we all know the truth, and there are people around who know the truth, who started inside sports. There are people who know who invented the steel pan, you know. So this is why I say I'm positive, man, and I'm happy as I look at the book, man. I feel happy, you know.
Yeah,
and
you should,
so that's all I mean, I tell you, it's a tragic experience, man, but it's a challenge, boy, that we have to really continue to struggle with and to do it.
You know, I just watched Denzel Washington on 60 Minutes this past Sunday. And here is a guy who has had so much success and has all the money that he needs. But he understands that there's still racism going on in America, even in his business. And he says he's just at a stage where he can help other people. And that's what it's all about, Vaughn, you know, to reach back and help each other. And Denzel has done. It's no doubt about what he's done over the years, man. But he understands. He has not forgotten who he is and where he came from. And that's what makes it so sad, Vaughn, in our business. That too many of us move up the ladder, but we don't carry anyone with us, Vaughn.
Right.
That is the
Yeah, man.
same.
I hear you. I hear you. They don't know us, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking to my friend Vaughn Martin. You can look right over my right shoulder. You see his picture back there. And also his book, Voices of Pan Pioneers of Trinidad and Tobago. And Vaughn, you're saying that this is the beginning of a global legacy. Let's hope that that's what this is all about. This is the beginning of a global legacy. And Vaughn, I just want to say too, happy belated birthday. I'm sorry I couldn't make it to the party, but hey, man, just keep on trucking. Keep on doing what you're doing, man. You've been out there long enough. You're a role model to so many, man. And I think I'm proud that you crossed my path, man, and the things that we've been able to do over the years, even though it's been limited, but at least we have reached out to each other. At least we communicate and talk, and let each other know exactly where we are.
Yeah, man. I am certainly happy and grateful, man. I feel truly blessed. You don't understand how, because sometimes I sit down here by myself in my basement surrounded by my music, and I think of people like yourself, man, and another good icon who I had the good fortune and the joy of meeting and interviewing, a fellow by the name of Petey Green.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. My mentor, the great Petey Green, got me started in this business, man.
Yes, man. So I feel really, I am, man, I feel blessed and I feel grateful. And it's good to know that we have good women standing with us. Your lovely Hattie and my lovely Brenda and my daughter, Vanessa. Because without the women, man, you're like, you know where, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Well, man, look, Vaughn, I wish you nothing but the best. And you know that I'm working on my book. I've been working a long time, too. In fact, I got 3 or 4 books, and people are saying, Harold, when are you coming out with your book? Well, they don't know the struggle that we have to go through, Vaughn, just to get this thing published, man. And I am so proud that you finally got your book published. And hopefully, man, that people will pick this book up. And Vaughn, how can they get a number, or how can they find out a way to pick up your book, Vaughn?
Well, I'm now working on putting the book on Amazon. But in the meantime, folks can call me at 301-775-4936.
Okay, give me that number one more time, Vaughn.
301-775-4936.
Vaughn, I want to take this time to say thank you, man, for participating on the Legends of Inside Sports, because you are a legend. And Inside Sports is about a lot more than sports, man. And want to keep you in prayer, as you will keep me and Hattie in prayer, man, because that's what it's all about, man. All the glory that we have experienced or have had, it's all about God, man. He's in charge. I mean, we wouldn't be sitting here talking to each other now. So give my love to the family, man, and like I said, hang tough. You got the last word, Vaughn.
Oh, thank you so much, Ron Harold. And I gotta thank you for this, because it's worthwhile doing it, and it's being great to be part of someone who's a legacy in our business. I just want people to remember that this instrument, the beginning of this Caribbean legacy, the global legacy, is the instrument that was created in the 20th century, the only musical instrument that was created in this 20th century by a group of young boys and girls, men and women, in Trinidad and Tobago, into a significant instrument, an instrument who has traveled, who has been exported all over the world, and is now a global legacy, you can call it that. Every time you see the instrument, think of the struggles that came out of Africa into the Caribbean, into the Americas, where this instrument came out of. beautiful instrument. And so I want to again thank you so much, Aaron.
Okay, Vaughn, thank you. Vaughn Martin, in his new book, The Voices of Pan Pioneers of Trinidad and Tobago. Until next time, I'm Harold Bell. And remember, this is the Legends of Inside Sports. And remember that every black face you see is not your brother, and every white face is not your enemy. I'm gone. Crabs in a barrel. That's how we live like crabs in a barrel. Climb on each other like crabs in a barrel. Come together, we could climb out the barrel. Rodeo, practice I would say. Rodeo, gotta make sure. Rodeo, and we going down unity. Rodeo, that's the way it's supposed to be. Take a good look around me. Look around and you would see Chinese, Greeks, and Italians, the Jews and the Indians. You're making economic progress while we keep making regress. People, let us all get together. Come on now, take your mind out together. Crabs in a barrel. That's how we living like crabs in a barrel.